So when did you realize you need to get into the hard seltzer game? When was it like, all right, it's time to pull the trigger? Or was it always like on the top of your mind? It just kind of came to a point where it's like, it's inevitable.
We're live right now, right?
Are we?
Oh, we're live.
We're live.
We've been
We've
live
been-
since you walked in the
We've
door.
been live.
Okay,
Yeah.
then my answer completely changes. No, we kind of saw the trend forming in the last couple of years, and then I think seeing some other breweries take on hard seltzers, not in our market necessarily, but Naughty Seltzer out east. There's a brewery. God, I don't even remember what the name of the brewery is, but it's nautical themed, so they came out with Naughty.
Oh yeah.
And then that was like the moment when I was like, wow, craft breweries are really well positioned to do this. We have all the equipment, we have all the know-how. And then White Claw happened. And we were just like, okay, there's something to this big time. We should step up and do this, because one thing that we've always tried to do at BauHaus, the whole reason that we exist, was trying to be innovators instead of just being, playing along with what everyone else is doing. And
Sure.
for us, initially that manifested as, let's bring craft lagers into the craft beer conversation, because there aren't any breweries that are focusing exclusively on that. Every once in a while you'd see a brewery have like a traditional lager. Shell's does some phenomenal traditional examples. Summit does too. But no one was really doing lagers with a modern, twist. Because I think there's this sentiment among brewers that lagers are like sacred. You don't touch them. Like, they're perfect. When, ironically, lagers are the most recent innovation in beer. Like, they only started being produced about 150 years ago, whereas ales have been produced for 5,000 years. So it's kind of an interesting perception there that brewers have. And we thought, lagers are so varied and interesting, and there are so many flavors that American beer drinkers are unaccustomed to that exist in other areas of the world, particularly Germany and Eastern Europe, where those types of beers have thrived for a long time. But we thought, let's put our own spin on this and brew lagers to our taste, because I think that we have pretty good palates, pretty good taste. So we were like, other people will probably get down on that too. And there was a need in the market. So we took it, and, we had the same feeling that inspired BauHaus, was that, there's not a lot of breweries doing this in our area. Now there are 3 others, but we're only the 4th to market out of a field of 170 plus breweries in Minnesota. So we're in the early stages of this game, and right when things are really heating up.
And then just like the way we, really thought about how we introduced BauHaus to the world, and really thinking through the brand and doing a lot of work behind the scenes to make it show up on the market fully formed, where it's like, it's not like a work in progress and then it's eventually going to turn into BauHaus, but it was like, this is it right out of the gates. Of course, we've iterated and gotten better, and we've changed our tap room around, our events have gotten better, etc. But like, that's how we needed to approach Bolo, was like, if we're gonna do this, let's make sure we have a brand and make it different and make it feel like it could stand on its own. And that's why we took all summer. It's like, we kind of missed the peak months of seltzer season, but luckily this is a year-round thing.
Oh, yeah. It's not going anywhere.
No, not at all. And so it's like, do we want to make sure the brand is going to be amazing? And we want to make sure we've tested enough batches to be like, okay, here's the recipe. It's going to be economical. It's going to be sustainable, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be good, and it can be consistent from here on out. And so we waited and did that. And it's like, let's be smarter and not just throw it out in the market and see what happens.
So is it officially out? Like, is
this week?
It's going to be in stores.
It's it's in stores as of like
Today?
yesterday.
Okay.
And we've just sold through our entire first batch, and our distributor is hounding us for more. So
Beautiful.
we're I wish that I
It's
could.
never happened.
I wish that I could hurry. Yeah, I wish that I could hurry up the biological process of fermentation, but we have our limitations, and we got to wait for it to finish. But in another 2 weeks, we'll have plenty more on the shelves. But it is available now.
Beautiful.
Wow. So to give some context, this is the BauHaus boys, Matt and Mike Schwandt.
Recurring guest, Mike Schwandt.
guest, Mike Schwandt and his brother
Hey,
Matt.
boys!
Yes.
So we're back. We're finally back, and to give people some context, the Schwandt family. Who else started the BauHaus? There's another family involved.
Yeah,
right?
so it's my wife and her family.
Okay.
My wife Lydia is our CEO.
Oh, okay.
Sort of den mother of the brewery.
Keeps us all in check.
Yeah.
Love that.
And then my father-in-law Howard and I actually homebrewed together for about a decade. That's sort of where the beer brewing thing came from. I've been brewing since 2005, and we just geeked out on brewing. We built a pretty amazing homebrew setup that we actually use now at the brewery as our pilot system. But we have a history of that, and we decided, let's do a family business. Let's try to do kind of what Shell's did 150 years ago, and what Anheuser-Busch started out as. Let's take that into the 21st century and be sort of a new model of the family-owned brewery.
Dope.
So there's
just want to build some context. That's
seven
awesome.
of us,
Eight
family member founders, and
our younger brother Mark is part of it. My wife, Maura. So that's Maura, Matt, Mike, and Mark. Jesus.
Lots of M's.
A lot of M's.
Yep.
Oh my god.
And it's just a constant game of puffing out the chest.
Yeah.
In the family business, I mean, you gotta get your voice heard. I'm guessing. So it's just kind of like, hey, have you heard me speak recently?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it kind of started that way. In an essence, because we all thought we had answers when we all were green and had no idea what we were talking about, but we figured it out. And I feel like now we have less egos than we ever had, because it's about finding the right solutions and being okay with not being in control all the time, and figuring out that we hire people for a reason. We let people go down certain lanes for a reason, because they'll come back with answers that we may not have. And that's totally okay.
I think that represents sort of a shift of us, understanding business a little bit better now. I mean, this was our first entrepreneurial effort, and we've learned a whole lot. But I think that now we're a lot more results driven than we are, letting our egos get in the way.
Yeah,
I love that, man. This is our first entrepreneurial journey, and we're heading into the final part of our third year doing this.
Congrats.
And yeah, no, it's been crazy. And it's really cool because we're kind of in this mindset of again, it's more kind of geared towards the results aspect of things, but just reflecting back on already this year alone, I mean, we'll be actually not well over, but this will be the 102nd podcast we've done since February.
Wow.
I mean, think how much
that's insane.
The results only come with action, and it's the amount of things you have gone and put into action. I mean, you guys had your badass boat party this summer.
Boatchella.
Boatchella. I mean, it's epic that you guys have already moved this thing so far forward, and it's very cool.
Yeah, we appreciate that. And speaking of Boatchella, is there a way that you guys can get your license partnered with Paddleford Riverboat Company by 2020?
I'm sure we can.
Because this damn city wouldn't allow us to bring on BauHaus, and we're like, this is just not right. I mean, the people are asking for BauHaus.
Yeah.
We got to get it on this boat, and then it just got shut down because of
distributed
1930s prohibition laws.
Well, that's odd. It's you obviously had alcohol.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and so all that would be needed to be done is whoever runs that purchasing arm from the boat would just be like, all right, I'm gonna reach out to Artisan, your distributor, and get some BauHaus.
And that's what
should be very easy.
And that's what's gonna happen this next time, because we're doing it. That event happened within 5 weeks.
Yep.
So we didn't plan far enough in advance to make these things.
Oh, there
happen.
it is. Yeah, it's a slow movement.
But Boatchella 2 is happening in 2020.
Nice.
January 20th of 2020.
No,
Nice.
June 20th. Not
June,
January.
yeah. Sorry, yeah.
We'll throw it in January if we want.
My bad.
We'll do anything for this company.
We'll do it twice. Yeah.
But no, we're not doing it in January.
Coachella.
June 20th, 2020.
Yeah.
Coachella.
Coachella. Oh my God, we should just do Coachella themed events throughout the year, quarterly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is. So with Bolo, are you guys gonna be filming a new commercial coming out? You guys are
So-
famous for that.
Okay, this is actually really cool, and I can share this. I'm not gonna share what we're doing yet, but so I still work in an ad agency at Fallon in Minneapolis, and I thought this was the perfect opportunity to try to convince them to take it on as a pro bono project, because we don't have the money to pay for the fees that they would usually ask any given client. So I went to our CEO and our head of finance and just kind of pitched this, where it's you guys haven't done anything local for, since when? Decades? It's been a long time since Fallon's done anything for a local brand or for anything that's Minnesota related. That's not part of like a non-profit situation.
And Fallon's been around. I mean, they're one of the original ad agencies of the Twin Cities.
Right. Yeah. And became globally known and had offices all over the world, especially like in the 90s when just killing it. They were doing awesome.
Didn't they have Miller back in the 90s?
They had Miller. I mean, they've done, Citibank and, Northwest Airlines when that was around before it was Delta. It's like they had really big clients and they were doing awesome. BMW, they did all the BMW films, like great stuff. I mean, that was pre-YouTube content marketing before anyone knew what that was. And they were short movies. I mean, it was a brilliant idea. But now I'm like, I've been working for this company for a while. I would wonder if now they would be interested in helping us and bring some of that amazing creativity to the forefront. And they're like, yeah, well, you can do some kind of pro bono trade. And so, we worked it out, just the numbers that makes sense. And today we actually went to our new offices. These guys came, the rest of the BauHaus crew came, and they showed us their pitch for how we're going to market this beer. It's so perfectly stupid and amazing. And I'm so happy.
It's on brand because you guys have a unique brand.
It's on brand, but at the same time, we went out of our way to sort of separate Bolo from BauHaus. We created separate social handles, a separate website. It says by BauHaus Brew Labs on it, but that's about the only association that we're aiming for with it. Not that we don't want to use the goodwill that we've established with BauHaus to help this brand get off the ground, but we wanted to avoid cannibalizing our own beer sales, by substituting hard seltzer for it. We wanted this to live on the hard seltzer rack and not compete with beer. Because even though there is a crossover, if you took a Venn diagram of hard seltzer drinkers to beer drinkers, there would be crossover, but we wanted to speak directly to hard seltzer drinkers. So there's a little separation there, and that is the reason why you may not see a lot of video content similar to what we do with BauHaus, because that's something that kind of lives in the BauHaus brand only. But I think you guys are going to be very, very you're going to respond very positively to what we got going on.
Yeah.
Is there a release date when we'll be able to? Will the universe be able to catch this?
Well, I mean, it's just gonna start. It's gonna start just cascading. You'll just start seeing stuff, and you'll just be like, "What is this? Is amazing. This is so dumb," and it's just gonna. It's perfect for the times. It's like you got to think about White Claw markets itself as being for like athletic people, and there's like if you look at their feeds and stuff, they're like someone doing yoga, someone's like rock climbing, and it's like it feels like it's trying to be crappy Michelob Ultra advertising.
The workout beer?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, let's not kid ourselves. The White Claw Chronicles Instagram handle, that's all memes that someone is making, and that's what the culture is.
Brand. Yeah.
That's what White Claw really is. And it's like, that's what this culture is. It's about as basic as it gets, man. Like, this is like, does it taste good? Cool. Can I get drunk without getting fat?
Yes.
Cool. That's it. There's nothing more. Like that. We should not try to go any harder than that.
Will I not get heartburn when I drink this?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
We all had to buy in. The reason that this summer summer 2019 will always be remembered as the summer of White Claw was Andrew got heartburn all of a sudden drinking like normal beer. So as a house, we all bought into G&Ts and White Claws.
Yeah.
And we haven't turned back. And it turns out every single other millennial Gen Z kid has done the same thing. It's really interesting though to see like the progression, because last year in
2018 it was frowned upon.
Yeah, 2018 White Claws were still around, just as prominent. The sun was still shining, and us 23-year-old white guys.
I was like, I have a beard. We're
getting scrutinized.
I can't drink a hard seltzer.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden this year we're doing the same thing, and it's national, it's global. We got everybody tapping into a market, and this market, like I really like what you guys are doing in terms of like making basically just separating yourselves but still influencing and showing everybody that your appreciation or your dedication to a specific market, because the hard seltzer spiked market is a market.
Oh yeah, and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
I mean, if you think about it, people enjoy cocktails like gin and tonics and vodka sodas because it allows them to have something refreshing and not feel full and heavy, and that's what this is. And we were talking about it earlier today, but like Zima, I don't know if you guys were probably too young. If you remember Zima,
heard of it.
That was like man, I'm in like 16 in high school. It's like if someone showed up with Zima, you're like, oh, this chick drink or whatever. But then I'd be secretly like, oh god, I like this so much better than beer. But it failed because it took itself so seriously, and it tried to act like it was this awesome thing instead of just going, it tastes good, drink it. Like it's not. There's nothing much more than that. It's really not complicated. And the thing that became interesting for seltzer is that it could be drank ironically and seriously simultaneously, where it's like, yeah, it's good and refreshing, but I can always hide behind this if I'm an insecure male who says, haha, isn't it funny we're drinking White Claw? Because it's an easy cop-out if you feel insecure about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think people just gained confidence in 2019.
I think so, too.
A lot of confidence was lost in 2018. People were all scared and whatnot. We all had to make a joke about all of us going in there and grabbing like a couple racks of White Claw. Now we go in there confidently and usually have a like entourage come in there with us. It's a lot of momentum going into a liquor store now.
Yeah.
Also, straight
storm the door.
Storm the doors. Live updates on where I'm at. So mango, very good.
Mm-hmm.
I tried the dragon fruit now, even better.
I know.
It's ranking. It's in my top 2 now.
So
number 1 for sure.
When we were doing flavor testing for dragon fruit, the first thing
there's already a story behind it.
Yeah.
I had this sense memory of when I was a kid, and one of my favorite things to do the day after Halloween was just open up my pillowcase and take a huge whiff of all that candy, like mixing together. And dragon fruit, like that, there's something in that flavor that I smelled.
Yeah.
And I was like, that takes me back. If it takes me back, I think it'll take others back too, because that's a powerful sense memory for a kid.
That is not at all what I would have thought, but now you say it, I'm like, whoa.
It's like Chewy Sprees.
Yeah.
Which are like one of my favorite candies growing up. And yeah. And, does anyone really know what dragon fruit tastes like? Have you ever seen or tasted
never seen a
dragon
fruit.
I don't even think it exists.
Yeah.
Well, I think it tastes like Chewy Sprees, and I love it.
That is
fucking
awesome.
hilarious, dude. Matt, I actually kind of want to dive into your story a little bit because I, to be honest, don't know anything about you.
All right.
I got
Andrew.
filled in
Yeah,
from Mike
Andrew, fill us in, dude.
10 minutes ago, and I feel like a bad host because I should have offered it. We have LaCroix and waters downstairs because I realized Mike filled me in. You had pancreatitis
Yes.
in 2018?
2017.
2017.
Yeah.
And as a brewmaster, you're not allowed, or it's frowned upon to drink alcohol now.
Right.
So let's walk through the story of in 2017. You get the notification that this is happening, and kind of walk us through that time frame in your life.
Yeah. Well, the notification was extraordinary abdominal pain.
Yeah, it's not a phone notification. It's
yeah.
not like I got a text message. Yeah.
It was the worst physical.
You're fucked.
It was the worst physical pain I've ever felt. And it started in my abdomen, and then like over the next 5 or 6 hours started radiating out to my middle back, and it just kept going, and I was like, nothing was working to help it. I tried, Advil, tried a little cannabis, like nothing was helping. And I called my father-in-law, who's an ER doctor, and I said, hey, I'm having these symptoms. What do you think? And he said, I think you need to go in and get a scan. So I did. I went over to Methodist Hospital, and they said, yeah, you're going to be inpatient. You have acute pancreatitis. You can't leave. And I was like, I didn't even know what that meant. I was like, what do you mean pancreatitis? They're like, oh, it's something that happens like if you drink too much alcohol over a long period of time. And not like a day, like over years, a long length of time. And, I've been drinking beer since I was old enough to drink it. I started... My interest in craft beer started back when I was in college in Nashville, Tennessee at Belmont University in 1998 when I started working at this award-winning brew pub called BauHaus. And I never looked back. I loved craft beer from that moment onward. And I guess I didn't really start overindulging regularly until we started the brewery, and it was just always there. And then there's a lot of stress with owning a brewery, and any business that you start. But, a manufacturing plant with all sorts of things that can go wrong all the time. And then in an increasingly competitive market, start drinking more and more and more. And it becomes a really regular habit. And, I still don't think that I was drinking to the point where, like, you would say I was an alcoholic. Although I guess I don't even know what that term really means.
Especially when it's tied to a business where the more you drink, the typically, like, you're part of the palate that
Right.
is like
Yeah.
your taste test
Yep.
to your market.
Yep.
So you can't physically say that unless you were, being an asshole.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
So, for whatever reason, probably a lot to do with my physiology too, I get this pancreatitis. And I spend 3 days in the hospital. And fortunately, it was only 3 days, because I hear of a lot of people who have had pancreatitis that are in for weeks or even months, or they have to have their abdominal fluid drained over a period of a year or two or something. And that sounds like no fun at all. So I got off pretty easily, but, the impact that it had on me was huge, because I don't want to experience that kind of pain again. And, if you go back for pancreatitis, chances are it's going to be worse than it was the time before, because your pancreas is already injured.
And it can shut down your organs.
And it can start shutting down other organs. And it can you can develop chronic pancreatitis, which is just where you have that pain all the time.
Oh, no.
And, so no bueno. Don't want that. So I cut way back, and now I don't really drink at all anymore. I still do a lot of quality testing, but it's always spitting. I do sensory analysis and stuff, and I still design recipes. But fortunately, I've also got a brew staff now that helps me out with a lot of that stuff. But yeah, seismic shift in my whole mental well-being and mindset. And for the first year after that, it was a pretty dark time for me mentally.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what's my identity now? You don't start a craft brewery because you think you're going to make a bunch of money. You start it because it's a passion project. And that's what it was for me. After a decade of homebrewing with my father-in-law, Howard, we started our own brewery like we had always threatened to do, after a few beers during a homebrew session. It finally made it a reality, and then all of a sudden this happens. And it's this is a curveball I never saw coming.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this changes everything for me. But over, I guess, this last year, I really started looking at it a different way. I felt like my perception of things, just like everyone's perception of things, kind of goes through their own unique prism. And I was focusing on one of the wrong panel of that prism. I was seeing only the negative stuff. When I started looking at other pains in that prism, I was like, this is actually super beneficial. Not only am I never hungover, so I'm always ready to go in the morning, ready to work. I'm far more productive. I'm way more in tune with the business and managing the business. I'm better with my relationships with my employees and our fellow owners and investors. So there's a huge amount of positivity that has come out of it. And honestly, I don't miss the beer that much. That's sacrilegious for me to say, but I'm just going to say it in the interest of total transparency. I really don't miss it that much. I lived 2 decades of having as much beer as I could possibly want. I get it.
The golden years, as some would say.
Yeah. So I had that. I experienced it. It was great. I loved it.
But it does. Yeah. But now it doesn't need to be.
But it doesn't need to be my
your
sole
life.
focus now.
Yeah.
It's incredible, and
it's
that's
also
a
kind of
whirlwind.
freeing, right?
Yeah.
It's not your necessarily identity anymore. You can build your identity now and realize how many other skills and talents and interests are out there, and it's beer is not at all. The thing that's really interesting to me about this is it helps shed a lot of light on this business in general. It's kind of messed up that every time that you go to a gathering of the Minnesota Craft Beer Guild or whatever, it's everyone has a beer in their hand and you're kind of expected to, where it's the only job that you can have where you can drink all day and it's not frowned upon. That's an odd thing to do, because if you think about what he was just saying, how many other people in this business are stressed the F out and just cope because they have beer at their disposal at all times. It's kind of this weird double-edged sword, and it's
kind of towing a line that not a lot of other people do. It's kind of unnatural when you look at it in the scope of not only a business but a community of businesses, an economy almost of these types of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it's I love to drink and socialize, and it's I'm never gonna fault anyone for that, but it should probably be talked about more that there could be a very dark, underlining issue that could be festering that maybe people should talk more openly about.
Yeah, it's something that you see the National Brewers Association addressing a little more than they used to, but it's still not widely talked about. I think the impact, the biggest impact is with sales staff at breweries, because when they go and visit accounts, they're expected not only to sample out our beers, but they're kind of expected to buy beer from the retailers as well as sort of a sign of goodwill. Like, hey, you take on our beer, yeah, we'll spend a little bit at your establishment, rub shoulders with other brewery sales reps that are there, and that's like a daily thing that you're expected to do. And I know a lot of brewery sales reps who just had to leave the industry in the last couple of years because they couldn't handle it anymore. It was terrible for their health. It was terrible for their well-being and mentally and physically.
If you wake up hungover every day, that's gonna take a toll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do it in college.
We can do it now. But that doesn't mean it's good for you.
It's not,
Right.
not good for us.
Not good.
It's so it is funny though, like to your point, like waking up and being like just feeling sober and attacking the day at 8 o'clock on like a Saturday or a Sunday is like the most rewarding thing of all time.
Yeah.
It really is.
And Andrew and I we usually do Sober October.
Yep.
And that is like such a cool, rewarding month, for a lot of different reasons. But one in particular is like your productivity
Through the
roof because you're
Yep.
just like up and at 'em and at your day when you have the most time. What's really cool is we just had Coach John Tower on the podcast, who's he's a psychology professor at St. Thomas. He's the head basketball coach at St. Thomas as well.
Oh, cool.
And he did his dissertation at Madison on intrinsic motivation. And we asked him, we're like, hey, what is your definition of intrinsic motivation? And he goes, you wake up on a Saturday and you have an entire day to do whatever you want. What would that be? And if you think about it, that's exactly what you're kind of going through, or what you go through in Sober October is you have this Saturday open where it's like you're sober, you're like energized, and you have a full day to do stuff. You're gonna work your ass off on BauHaus. I'm gonna work my ass off on Backpocket, and we're gonna have a full day, and it's gonna be the most positive thing of all time.
Yeah.
I will say, going from being a regular drinker to just having to not drink at all, the first thing I noticed was how much quicker my mind functioned, and it freaked me out. I was not prepared for the barrage of ideas and stuff that my mind was my processing speed just went up through the roof.
You're like, I have superpowers.
And I kind of realized, I've been kind of handicapping myself the last couple of years, by drinking so much. And now, I mean, it was freeing in a way. And I see that now. I didn't see it like that back then. It just freaked me out.
Yeah. So with your family, how has that been? Have they taken on some of the aspects that you brought to the table previously, and they've just been kind of like filling in the gaps where you wouldn't be able to play a role into necessarily anymore?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. My wife, Lydia, has the best palate of anyone I've ever known. And she was a lot of the reason that, BauHaus beers taste the way that they do. Because she's got just a great sense of like balance, and she used to work at this great restaurant called La Belle Vie in the Groveland building, which is now PS Steak.
I drove past that the other day, and I finally realized that that's actually a steakhouse.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like one. It looks like a hotel.
No, it's not like an addendum to
it's
like a letter
phenomenal,
somewhere. Like,
Yeah.
oh, P.S. We got steak too.
That's got to be like $120 a head, and like
It's
minimum.
it's priced like a good steakhouse.
A good steakhouse.
But it's fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, the place is incredible.
We'll put that one on the company card.
Highly recommend it.
Company car.
But yeah, Lydia has always had an affinity for chef-driven food and craft beverage, and she's helped me out a lot with doing sensory analysis and helping me to sort of check my head a little bit. I think more than anything, just being super supportive of me, knowing that this took a big toll on me mentally, and trying to help me find my way back and find my way back into the game.
Absolutely. And then on the flip side, Mike, how are we doing over on your side? Are you having to overcompensate for our buddy Matt over here, or is this like what is going on? I really want to tap into you a little bit in terms of like what you've been up to the last freaking 8 months, dude, because you're all over the freaking place.
Yeah, it's been wild, man. There's with you guys, we kind of sat down at the beginning of the year and we mapped out goals. We hung out and we figured out what do we want to try to accomplish this year. And it was awesome because it's a bunch of people that didn't know each other and all had some stuff that we could share and then get somewhat accountable. And it's like the second you air that to someone, especially ones that are like not your friends who you can just kind of go, why I just didn't want to do that anymore. It's like it's someone that you don't know that well, so that when you put it out there, it's out there. And so it's kind of like, if you don't do it, you kind of have to just say, I'm not going to see you guys anymore. Like, or have at least a reason why you pivot, right? And this year has been, I mean, it's been really interesting. It's been tough and awesome and eye-opening and just all the things, because my kids are getting older. I've started realizing more and more, like, I need to really push the gas on starting kind of my own thing and figuring out how to navigate like a business that I could kind of run by myself and leave the ad world so I can have more time to be working on BauHaus and the stuff I love. There's like so much more fun to be had and so much more creativity that I can unleash with these guys if I had the time. And, you know, I have a very demanding job. And so we've had an interesting summer where we had to leave our office space in March. And that kind of was what started throwing a wrench and everything, because we worked in a temp space all summer long above Sex World, downtown Minneapolis.
Right on.
Right. It was in the same building as Alter.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, these offices, and I do not want to fault Spaces. They're great people who run that spot, but like, it was not set up for us. Like, it just didn't work.
It was designed for a bondage gallery.
Yeah, exactly. It was weird. It was weird. But like, I mean, conference rooms that were like 90 degrees all the time. And it's just, and technology didn't work, and just, it was a tough summer. I've been working on like a new client, but in the meantime, to the whole point of what you guys are saying, like, you wake up on a Saturday and crush it. Like, I have found how to stick with a morning routine that has gotten me amped for the day every single day. And it's like, I know my situation is not necessarily exactly how I want it to be, but I know how to have, I've mapped out the plan now, you know. And that it took me a while to figure out, here's the step 1, step 2, step 3, and also learning to let go of any expectation of how things will unfold. All you can do is put in the action. All you do is wake up and you say, this is my intent, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to put in for the day. And as long as you keep cutting that tree, you know, it's like, it's one little swing at a time, and eventually you're going to fell that tree, you know? So as long as you keep that in mind and never worry about how it gets there, or be excited to be surprised by something else happening and shifting your path a different way, and not being like, no, that's not the path I wanted to go on. It's being open and going, oh, well, now I see that. And now that makes sense that that's where it's going to be like this. Because, like, anyone that ever has, like, really accomplished, like, a major goal would never tell you it was, like, this straight line. It's like, oh, nope, I'm back here. It's all over the place. And then you just have to be certain that you're going to get there.
Yeah.
However it is, it doesn't matter.
This is why I get fired up when you come on the podcast. And now I'm remembering how I felt when we had our conversation back in October of 2018. And I mean, we talked from your musician career, BauHaus, psychedelics, trying to gain as much focus as you can in your day, meditation. I mean, we were talking about it all, and we unpacked it in about an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, we went hard.
We went hard. And I remember walking away, I'm like, I am ready to run through a wall. I'm ready to tackle the world.
Yeah.
And because
That's
all four of us have those urges to like do something great, to make an impact positively on a bunch of people and do what we love. And trying to do that every day is a challenge, and it's a rewarding challenge, because we have those high expectations and we want to meet those high standards all the time. Right. And then once you do, you're like, all right, let's try to do that to another level and maybe in another area. And at some point it becomes a little bit of a burnout, and it becomes a little bit exhausting. So you have to find something to bring your back down to even keel. And all right, let's breathe a little bit. Let's make sure our health and well-being is good. And this is firing me up, because I remember talking to the Let's Fucking Go Inc. group and the accountability in February, January, and even then moving that forward. It's like, had to get that out there.
And we were going to try to like meet quarterly, and it's like, obviously it's tough, but I think if we continue to do that, even at the beginning of the year, just setting intentions, then you see what happens.
Yeah, but hold on, like, how great was that email that we got 2 days ago?
Oh, right.
Like the two guys who I don't remember their names, but they
Trevor and Harry
wanted to start,
or is it Travis?
Like
oh man, yeah.
Hey dude, who cares?
Well, I just saw him last night. I should remember this.
The Domino guys.
Yes.
They literally set this intention. For the people who don't know, these guys set this intention at this Let's Fucking Go group that Mike put together, and they sent us an email out of nowhere. Like this was in a reply all chain of like 20 emails. Like
the last
hey,
reply,
does Tuesday at April work? Does this day work? Does this day work?
Yeah, the last email in that chain was April of 19th of 2019.
Yeah.
And we get the email 2 days ago, and the headline was, I know this chain is dormant.
Yeah.
I know the chain's dormant, but we just achieved one of our stones, and I was like, that's fucking awesome.
And it's funny because then
great.
they end up doing it at BauHaus.
Yes.
At
Like,
BauHaus, yeah.
well, and now we're doing it the next few months, and it's
Yeah.
it's so cool because like people were down last night and they were playing, learning dominoes, and that was their whole goal. Is like they want to spread this game and make a real community
Yeah.
of
They're
it.
Domino's influencers.
Yeah, which is crazy because it's like I get it. Playing some dominoes, I'm like, this is a crazy game. This is fun. It's like if you can have people that are like ready to pick up and slam on the table, and you just have dominoes flying everywhere. It's like there's a lot of energy.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It was and like touching back on your point about expectation, like that is something that we got hot in like summertime. We were crushing podcasts, just having like big guest after big guest.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started like trying to figure out where Backpocket's gonna go, just through our with our high momentum, and start setting like expectations and really trying to go for them, and trying to fulfill those is great. Like that's the drive you need day in and day out. But to your point, the release of fulfilling those expectations is kind of what keeps you on that like even keel path, because you gotta have to kind of accept the fact that your path is going to be all over the place. But I just related to that heavily in terms of just like we set all these expectations, met absolutely none of them, and I was just like, dude, do we just like fail? Like, do we just blow it? Like, what happened? It was awful.
Well, I mean, what's freeing to realize like you didn't fail. If you gave up, that's one thing, and then I used to give up all the time. Because I had so many interests and so many things I wanted to chase, where I'm like, oh, this is the new thing I'm gonna do, and I would get bored, or what really happened is it got hard, and I had enough skill sets to go chase another path and start acting like, oh yeah, this is my interest now, and that's just bullshit. That is the excuse you give yourself when things get hard, because everything that you have been working toward is going to have resistance no matter what. Whether it comes from the outside, whether it comes from inside, mainly inside, there'll be some resistance. It's always going to happen. You try to build something, something's going to be trying to pull it back down. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you are right about to have something break through and some door open is when it gets exceptionally hard. And that's when everyone quits. And that's when I used to quit on everything. And I'm like, I'm not fucking doing that ever anymore. And it took me till this year to really put that into high gear and be excited about the journey. And it's like, who cares how long it takes? Who cares, if it goes exactly as planned? Just be in the now and work as hard as you can in that moment, and then see what happens. Mm-hmm. Just be okay with that. That's how it's gonna go.
Mm-hmm. Freaking love that. By the way, just opened the lime.
Yeah.
And this is very good.
That's what I started with.
Now I'm kind of feeling my palate is now on fire. I'm just feeling it, dude. I think man, the lime is just very tangy.
It's kind of a gin and tonic with lime or a vodka tonic and lime,
Gin,
pre-made.
Yes. No, I 100% great. Yeah, I'm sure you created this, so I understand that description. 100%.
But I mean, it feels like you just crushed a lime in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like when you get a gin and tonic or vodka soda first time, and the lime's on top, you take it off, and you
squeeze it in,
take a sip the first time.
Yep.
It's so tasting like that, dude.
Awesome.
A delight to the senses.
Oh yes.
Phenomenal.
What has been kind of a thing that you guys do to help just in your daily life to make sure that you're even keel, staying on path? Do you have like a practice within the BauHaus team, or just like personally every day to try to make sure that is it like goal setting or meditation or something along those lines?
Yeah, Mike actually this year turned me on to meditation, and when I was saying earlier that first year of not being able to drink was really having a toll on me mentally, I feel like I kind of reached my rock bottom, where there was a lot of despair. There was a lot of dread every day. Wondering, trying to figure out my identity now and how I could still make this business work, because I'm still financially tied to this. Like, personal guarantees have been signed. My financial future is hedged on this company's success. so that all that pressure on me, was driving me down. And it was a dark time, and I was willing to suspend disbelief and try something that I had never tried before. And Mike really encouraged me to start a meditation practice. And I started out pretty light, like maybe 5 minutes at a time, using like the Headspace app or Insight Timer. And I didn't do it very regularly starting out. I understood that it made me feel a little bit more relaxed, but I didn't really get it until a few months later. And this would have been like, April or May this year.
Yeah.
And something just clicked. And I started feeling so great after my meditations. And it would last with me longer than the meditation. It was something that I could carry with me through a pretty good portion of my day. And it's gotten better since then. And now it's to the point where if I could just sit in a room 8 hours a day and meditate, I totally would.
I know. It's crazy.
It feels
it's selfish though,
Right.
That's the weird flip side of it, because when you get so into it, you feel so just powerful and connected, and you could sit there all day. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you maybe there's a point where you want to take like a 10-day retreat or something sometime. Right. But learning how to carry it with you throughout the day, because you can change your entire energy and put focus on this is what I'm going to put out into the world all day long. And if once you get tuned into that's the thing, you can keep with that all day long. That's golden.
Yeah. Could you detail a little bit out of how you meditate? Is it the
Sure.
Is it the breath aspect? Is it the letting go of thoughts or thinking deeper within thoughts type aspect? Which kind of avenue do you go down?
So it depends. In the mornings, it's a breath meditation. I do 20 minutes first thing when I get up. It's all breath, because your brain is still in that sort of different consciousness. Your sleep consciousness, which is more conducive to sort of benefiting from meditation, and reaching your inner consciousness, your subconscious.
Because your brain gets more impressionable when you're in that state. It's like more like the theta brainwave pattern. You will take on ideas and embrace them better in that state. So
the waking up stage is
like right at period right between sleep and being alert.
Okay.
That's why hypnosis works for what it does. It brings you down into the theta stage. So when someone gives you suggestible ideas, that you can really take them to heart. Because
I never knew that.
That's essentially why doing it in the morning is awesome, or late at night.
Okay.
So that's my breath meditation. And then after lunch, I'll just go sit in my car, find a quiet place in a parking lot, and I'll do like another 30-minute meditation.
30?
Yeah.
Whoa.
That usually for me is focusing on intentions and like, what do I want to accomplish, today or tomorrow or in a week? Like, what do I want my dominant intent to be? And I focus on those things and try to put myself in a really positive emotional state as I'm doing that. And that after that, I come back to work feeling totally invigorated, refreshed, just ready to attack the second half of the day. It feels great. Mm-hmm. And then on the weekends, when I have a little more time, I will sometimes do like a full hour. Last weekend I actually did a 2-hour meditation.
Dude, you're like way into this thing.
It's all because of this guy. I got way into it, and the benefits are they're so palpable. They're so evident.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone who knows Matt is like guaranteed. They're like, whoa, dude, you're different. Like, but in like
you've changed,
but in the best way, where it's just like everything's there's not this sense of worry or anxiety.
Yeah. Right. I think that if there's a unifying theme among all those different kinds of meditation, my personal goal is just to get to a point where I am constantly in the present.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worrying about whatever happened in the past. I'm not inventing worries that may or may not happen in the future, because neither of those things are real. They're a construct of our mind. The only thing that's real is what's happening right now. And if you can get there and not let your mind, take you in different directions, if you can focus on the now, I'm convinced you can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just stop time traveling. Just
right?
stop it. You go back in the past, you get depressed because you're worrying about things that did happen that you can't change. You get all anxious when you start getting your mind into the future for things that have not happened, but you've created scenarios. And the thing is, if you focus on worst case scenario, sure, I mean, it's okay to think about proper planning for like, okay, if this happens, here's how we solve it. If this happens, this is how we solve it. This, you know what I mean? You can think like that. But the second you start bringing emotion into it and getting very worried and scared about a possible worst case scenario, what do you think is going to come back to you? That's the energy you put out. It's like, yeah, you're going to get shit results because that's all you're thinking about. If you create your own reality in the now and you're always in the now thinking that, then eventually that's exactly what it's going to be.
Yeah. That's where I struggle mightily. There will be times where, we'll have some sort of presentation or idea, concept, maybe even an action in the now that would influence my thoughts in the future.
Mm-hmm.
From that, I just dive headfirst into that rabbit hole. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And it's not because it's negative. It's because, I see an opportunity.
Yeah.
Let's go down there. And so what I'll do is I'll just travel down that, and then I'll circle back and almost like forget where I came from.
Yeah.
Okay, and I should say there's nothing wrong with trying to vision your future.
Yeah.
In a positive way. In fact, that's exactly what everyone should be doing. So that's your healthy time travel. It's like picture yourself achieving this is what I do every day. It's like I'll do it basically it's a tuning in to your future potential kind of thing. Okay. So it's like this is like I wake up at like 5 every day and meditate for an hour and a half on this. And it's because like my kids get up early and I'm like I got to have some time for myself here. So get up early, but also once you get into this regular time period every single day, that's when you get the benefits of just it's the repeat value of it. So
it's the consistency.
Consistency
that really makes a difference.
I mean, it's key. I used to only kind of toe the line with every day. It would be like once a week or once every couple of days, and then when it was every day and at a specific time, it's like that's when it's like every day becomes a revealing aspect where I'm like I haven't thought about it like that. Okay, all these things keep happening that reveal new ways to think and new perspectives you can have, which is amazing. But when it comes to the tuning in, it's like I'll envision what is my ideal version of myself, or what is the ideal goal I want to achieve that right now, that's my intent. And then the real key is seeing it and like really seeing it and feeling it, understanding how it would be if you actually were already there. What would your body feel like? What kind of like emotion would you be in if you like accomplished whatever it was that you wanted? And then just go there and be there, because like that's the energy you want to carry with you all day, because that's what's going to attract that kind of stuff in your life.
You put yourself in that headspace and you'll start seeing opportunities more that help you get there. You're more likely to tune into those if you put yourself in that place and carry it through the day, Maybe like something as random as a sign in a window that you never noticed before, but because you put yourself in that place, that inspires some idea for you. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's whether you believe in luck or not, I think that there's a lot of value in trying to place yourself in luck's way as much as possible. And so if you can get to that place where you start noticing things that you may not have noticed because you were too cynical or too negative, or cutting yourself off from your potential by not allowing yourself to even entertain the thought of achieving something better, you're handicapping yourself. I mean,
100%.
Yeah.
And that's like the penultimate experience of meditation. That's why everyone is starting to believe in this movement of mental health and doing it with meditation.
Exactly.
Right.
Because a lot of people looked at meditation, and when they started practicing it, they're like, why am I doing this? And they were questioning themselves even in a practice where you're not even supposed to
right.
It was just you were breaking immediately.
And then as soon as you're like scolding yourself for thinking of thoughts when you're not supposed to be thinking of thoughts. Yes. And it's like that's not what it is.
That's the thrill of it all, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, you stupid bastard! What are you doing,
motherfucker? Yeah. So that was one thing I wanted to ask, like, in terms of different types of meditation, because for myself, I've tried different avenues, and if you're listening for the first time to the Marketing Interns and you've never meditated before, start with 5 minutes, close your eyes, focus on your breath, and just it's honestly, back to your point, just the consistency of dedicating 5 minutes.
Yes.
Right.
Dedicating 15.
And then
the Schwandt guys are these guys are freaking legendary. These guys are level 50 meditators.
I would say the reason that I dove in, like I said, was I was in such a bad place, mental health wise, like a year ago. I was willing to try anything.
Right.
And I mean, some things that were healthy for me, not like to try anything, but
Well,
Wow.
but that really turned me around, and I just dove head first into it, and but that is by no means that it needs to be like the goal for everyone has to take it on their own terms and decide what's best for them. And
I never feel like the thing that would ever stop you from ever progressing or even getting into it is thinking you needed to do it a certain way. It's like, just start small. That's it. Start small, 5 minutes. Because like the first time I tried, 5 minutes felt like an eternity.
Yes.
It was like, oh, what? How? What? Like, it's like I open my
your
eyes.
peek
I'm
at
like,
the timer.
what?
Yeah.
But the key is that, just focus on your breath. Like, that's the easiest way to start. And realize if you think thoughts, all it is about noticing that you're thinking of a thought, and just go, oh well, I can let that go, and it's just like a little cloud just disappears. So that's it.
Yeah.
Just and it's like never scold yourself. You just sit there and try to get more focused. Your brain can be treated the same way as any other muscle in your body. You can just exercise it, and focus is a skill. Like, it's a skill. Like, awareness is a skill. You can learn how to get tighter and better at it. And that just takes time and practice. That's
Absolutely.
just what it is.
And something that's helped us in a way of meditation is asking ourselves, what is our average quality?
Yeah.
And Mike knows this because he's come on our show and unpacked his own average quality. We unpack our own average qualities every single day. And these are things we do well at times and other times not so well. At the end of the day, it's our average quality. And it could be something that you care about deeply, and every single day you're just trying to improve at a little bit. You want to be the best brewmaster. You know you're not the best ever, and every single day you're trying to get a little bit better because you know you want to get to this ultimate level. And I can go and I'm going to ask you guys what your average quality is. So if you want to think about that for now while I unpack mine.
Sure.
And Declan will have his
Wow,
as well.
dude. Yeah. No one even needs to really ask you what your average quality is. You're just going to give it to yourself.
Yeah.
Tee it up, dude.
Yeah.
I teed myself up. I got the driver in hand, and I'm ready to hit a 300-yard bomb. My average quality right now, and I was actually unpacking this in meditation the other week, was my idea of a relationship with women.
Yeah.
And unpacking this is going to be funny to you because coming out of a relationship, your confidence can be one way or another. You could be like, all right, I am better for this. I can be the best person I can be with another person. I could be the best person I can be independently. Or you can think very unhighly of yourself and be in this kind of weird state. And I've been battling that a little bit for the past few weeks, past few months of just like, where am I at? Why don't I feel like why aren't I confident in myself to be who I am when I'm out in the social setting with others? And that is my average quality right now. I have this like weird tendency to inflict self-doubt in myself, to put myself in these future scenarios where I am unsuccessful, and I do that time and time again, and it's ultimately just hurting myself because I'm future thinking and present thinking of things of how I failed in the past. And I wanted to bring up this exact average quality because you guys have been leading down the path of staying in the present and challenging yourself to look at what's happening right now. And that is like I feel like the most vulnerable situation you can possibly be in is opening yourself up to another person. Yeah. And looking at it in a way of like, hey, it is what it is. Whatever happens, just be yourself is something I'm going to try to challenge myself every single day. So I went deep there because I was vibing with what you guys have been saying for the past 50 minutes. And I thank you for challenging me to...
Have we already been going that long? Wow.
Yes, we have.
This is a good combo.
It's a great combo. So I know I started deep there, and that's why I'm going to pass the baton to Deck, and I guarantee he's going to take it down a whole different path.
Well, hold on. Let's
before you do, honestly, it's like this is interesting because there's a point that I was gonna make, and this is another thing to think about. So this is something I've learned over time, especially from meditation, and especially from there's one guy that I am drawn to who's a great teacher. His name's Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he's got an incredible story. It's too long to get into right now. That would take us on a whole new tangent. But the idea is this. Whenever you have something happen to you in your life, whether it's like a trauma or just even some experience that you might take badly, you you get, stressed out. You start releasing your stress hormones. You start releasing cortisol, and you're like worried something bad happened to me. And then you can have a moment where someone goes, oh, what's wrong? What happened to you? Oh, well, this thing happened. Someone left me, or I got in an accident, or I had this happen, or I lost my job. I got fired. Something can happen, right? And then the next week, it goes from like just having an emotional response to a situation. It becomes a mood because you keep repeating that. And someone goes, oh, what's wrong? Well, I lost my job a month ago. And it's like, okay. And then all of a sudden you keep living that. It's a year later, you're worse. And someone is asking you, what's wrong? Oh, well, I got fired. And then now all these other things have happened. And it's because you are reliving that moment over and over and over again because you keep revisiting it. And so you tell yourself, that's my story now. That's why I'm in this situation, because of that thing. And the problem is your body is not ever meant to be in a constant state of stress. Like that one situation, like if you had a relationship that you broke up with someone, you could always go back to that and start revisiting, well, like with emotion, like, oh, I feel bad about this or that. And the more you do that, your body starts releasing like survival mode hormones and cortisol and stress related things that keep your body in alert. That is such an unhealthy thing to perpetuate over and over and over again, and it just creates this cycle where you are just living in the past. Like that's what it is, because you keep revisiting the same situation. That's the hardest thing to let go of and realize. Every time you go back and think of something, your brain can bring you right there. So if it's a bad situation, you're just reliving it over and over again. Your body doesn't know it's not happening.
And it's very hard to go back in those moments and not do it with emotion.
Exactly.
Look at it as like almost like you're a bystander and trying to look at it, okay, analytically almost, and being like, oh, I felt like that because of that. It's not a wrong reason for feeling that way, but that is how you felt.
Right.
So, and there's that fine line of balancing.
Well, it's like, how do you get to step out and be the observer?
Yes.
And go, what are the lessons I learned from this? And that's it. Then you can move on.
It's a tough place to get.
And I'm not saying that it's easy. No, it's incredibly hard to go remove yourself from yourself and be the observer and just go, why did that not work out? Or why did that happen? What can I learn? And without having any emotion attached to it. And then, take it in and move forward as a better person,
Yep.
Emotional intelligence, dude.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Wow. That's it. This is fun. Yep. This is good fun. I was gonna say my average quality. I got two of them.
Ooh.
First one is me saying and Backpocket saying unpack more than anything that we've ever said. And Andrew and I realized this when
we had a listener on our show.
Yeah, we had a listener on our show. We had like a couple people come up to us, and even like our buddy Mark, our good friend, his dad is like, unpack. Like he's always like very, very deliberate when he says that to us. And I'm realizing like we say that word more than anything. So we got to switch it up again. Like this is the problem with hearing yourself talk all the time.
Yeah.
Is you realize you say the same goddamn words every single podcast.
Words like unpack, words like nascency, penultimate. I used that today already. We say that.
We have not used penultimate enough. That one, I think if there's like a
It's on
stock
the lower
market.
scale.
Yeah, if there's like a stock market of Backpocket words, nascency has come and gone, dead. We're already in the falling action of unpack, and I think we need to rebrand and dive in. I think that's something there.
Okay.
I've already now started a new brand of saying bombastic more. I think we can get into that one. So there are more words that we need to use.
You just got to sign up for like Webster dictionaries, like email
Word of the day.
Word of the day.
Word of the day.
Yeah.
And we actually absolutely need to do that. But what was funny is I will go back and listen to old podcasts when I'm in a, like kind of a rut, or I'm in this situation right now where like when we started season 3, we had this like a plan of attack of 3 podcasts a week, 9 Instagram posts a week, 3 per podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna run this out. We have each theme for each podcast, and that was that. And I had like just barely got into comedy. My work was pretty like decent, nothing crazy. But now I'm sitting at a time in my life where comedy's ramped up, podcasting's still the same, which is very ramped up, and then my work is like I'm coming to the end of like my job on this construction project.
Mm-hmm.
So then that's also ramped up, and I'm like, why would I ever, why did I ever sign this contract? Or like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
why did I ever sign up for this? This is like the dumbest thing of all time. Like, what am I doing? But at the same time, it was, so I'll go back and reflect.
Mhm.
So I'll go back and like listen to Mike Schwandt season 2, episode 35. And I'll go back and listen to, our Coach Caruso podcast, all these other podcasts. And it's like, dude, the growth is nuts. It's so much fun to like just have a little bit of a reminder, like, okay, dude, it's not that big of a deal that you burnt out on September 20th of 2019. Like, the 21st is gonna be so much better.
I mean, that's what's awesome, that you guys get to do live journaling, like more or less. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's like you don't, you don't have to write shit down. I mean, you can still journal, and that's awesome. I wish I could. I mean, I'll get up and I'll write like some like things I'm grateful for in the morning, and like really make sure I envelop that. But like writing a journal, it's like something I always wanted to do as an idea, but like this is the way to do it. And then you can go back and reflect and go, holy shit, look how far our thoughts and just our skill sets have come so quickly and readily available.
That's something that I think everybody can be better at, is like taking the time to celebrate your successes.
Yeah.
Because we don't do that very often. We just look at where we want to go and we realize we're not there yet. But we don't look behind, with a whole lot of affection most of the time. But I think if you take the time to do it, you see all sorts of accomplishments that you should be proud of, because they all led you to this moment, and that's a powerful thing.
And it's not to say that we're doing it the right way right now, but we've done enough work to this point to get us here.
Yeah.
Right. We're having these stresses because we work so hard to get here. Right. And it's like the higher the risk, the higher reward, I guess. But in the same sense of just like the harder you work, the more opportunities and the places that you put yourself in.
Yeah.
And I think that is like something that I'm so proud of, in the sense that like I get to be stressed out of my fucking mind because I started a podcast 2.5 years ago. Or we start. Sorry, I keep saying we started a podcast 2 years ago. And like that's
Andrew,
that's cool shit.
Who's this guy?
I'm sensing another average quality.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like that's really what it comes down to, man. I'm just like, really, it's cool to have Andrew, because like we get to bounce these things off each other, and
you have your family, and you get to work through all those ebbs
Exactly.
and flows.
Yeah.
It's awesome having community. Doing it solo, I can't imagine. And the people that are trying to do it solo, take those moments.
Just take help.
Yeah,
Just get as many people as you can bounce your ideas off.
dude,
of.
I am gung ho on the fact that I think every person in life can have a coach. Every single person. It doesn't matter if you like, I need a coach for this thing, or like, I'm not doing sports. I'm not running my own business. It's like, it doesn't matter. What do you want to get better at? There are coaches for all the things. And it's like, it took me realizing this by getting a coach. And it's like, I work with a dude online who just like, he inspires me and continues to push me to follow through on things and stay true to the goals that I want to accomplish. And it's like they're all there, man. It's like every single person could benefit and see things that they never saw. That's why it's awesome to, if you guys don't have like someone to work with and starting something from scratch, especially entrepreneurial side, you can get a coach. It's like, you want to have a better relationship with your family, or your wife, or your girlfriend, or whatever. It's like, or just learn how to be better for those. There's a coach. I mean, it's all there. And it's like, if you get to have someone as lucky as you guys are to have ideas to bounce off each other, or us as a family to be able to do that, it's so beneficial to be able to help lift people up, and vice versa.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Cherish those moments. So now I'll ask you guys, and we'll start with you, Matt.
Okay.
What is your average quality?
I've been thinking about this now since you said it. I've had about 10 minutes to think about it. And I think that if there's an overarching average quality, it's my tendency to stew negatively on past situations and giving them far more attention than they deserve. Whether it's a negative interaction with a person or just a general experience, I'm not great about pulling myself back from that and just saying, hey, I can't do anything about it. It's in the past. Sure, it was a negative interaction with that person, but next time I see that person, it'll be better. I'll make it better. I'll go out of my way to make it better. But I have a tendency to stew on past things, and it's crazy what the mind does when you do that, because it starts inventing things that weren't even part of that situation, and you start guessing the motives of other people, and and everything is cast in a negative light.
And you
Your-
predict
your
what's
mind-
going to happen
and
next.
then you start using it to predict your future and saying, oh, well, the next time I see this person, I'm really going to take it to them, or it's going to be terrible. They're going to, light into me or whatever. That's something that I've been trying, pretty hard to overcome. Because I have a big tendency to go negative and be cynical. And I don't know what that comes from, but I think that's part of that's a family trait.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Breaking news.
Oh
The
yeah.
Schwandt family's negative.
Yeah, I think all of the
Hey, there's just
The
there's
Schwandt family has
been-
negative tendencies.
There's negative
Yeah.
tendencies to, for whatever reason, we've all kind of had to fight that same thing where we would assume the worst.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
self-inflicting negativity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Do you think that, to flip it a little positively, do you think that anticipation of negativity, or like that, like if I don't get my shit together, I'm falling off a cliff type mentality,
Mhm.
do you think that's helped you have success on the flip side because of how hard you work towards something?
There's
I
both sides.
honestly don't think so.
I don't think so either. But
Okay.
if we thought so at the beginning. We
Okay.
thought that.
Before we started BauHaus, I was a lawyer, and we're paid to anticipate the worst possible scenario.
All right, real
That's-
quick. Now I get it, dude. He's so good at speaking, and it makes sense.
That's the whole job. If you're in trial work, if you're in transactional, you're on the benefit of being on the front end of problems, hopefully trying to prevent them by drafting airtight contracts. But if you're in the litigation side of it, you're picking up the pieces, you're solving the problems, and you always anticipate the worst possible scenario so that you're ready for it. But there is an easy thing to do when you're thinking like that, and that is to not just anticipate it, but accept it as a reality already.
and feel it.
And
Yeah,
feel it.
That's the problem.
And when you take that step, that's a dangerous step to take, because your mind will just start running with it, and all of a sudden, you're 100 yards down the field, and it's not good.
Yeah. You've lost all the help behind you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's I think I'm just spitballing here. I have no clue if this is accurate or not, but I think that all three of us have been so prone to wanting to create our whole lives. We all wanted to be musicians full time and be professional touring musicians. That's like our whole thing. He was in a band in Nashville. They got signed to Epic Records.
No.
Or no, you were about to be, and then they shelved the project.
It was not as far along as that.
Well, either way.
It
But
was
we-
close to
we
being
were
as far
shop-
as long as
we
that.
were
Come on,
shopping-
dude. This is a show where we can literally make up anything we wanted.
We were
It'll be-
shopping
No one's
an
gonna
album.
fact
No
check.
one's gonna fucking say nothing about
We were
it.
shopping an album, and we played South by Southwest in 2003.
Mhm.
And that was kind of our big
Showcase,
moment.
yeah.
And then it didn't happen.
Well, either way.
As it doesn't for the millions of musicians out
Mhm,
there who are
mhm.
hardworking and trying to make it happen.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's tough. That's a really tough game. But you also see really shitty musicians make it because guess what? They tried harder and they stayed really focused on what they wanted to get. That's something I learned the hard way too. Because like our band, we got signed to a little label in town and we partied way too much and never focused on the business of actually growing and learning how to be a professional musician. We were just a bunch of amateurs that wrote decent songs, but really were professional partiers more than anything, and that was a bad place to be. But I think like all three of us have wanted, since kids, to create something, and when you want to create something, you're always putting yourself out there. You're not just going into the usual like doldrums of life following what's prescribed for you. And I think whenever you do that, there's always the immediate fear and the negativity of what if people hate me? What if people don't like what I create? And I think that's part of why I think we've always had that tendency to go and stew on the negative, because we've always known that we're going to put ourselves out there. I remember when we first started seeing reviews come in for BauHaus on Yelp, and we're like, okay, I'm gonna go close the door now. Like, you just get into this space where it's like, but those are people who suck. They're taking they're taking the time to go out of their way to express their negativity, and it's like, I understand constructive feedback. I'm always gonna be for it, and I'll never look at it. But when it's just straight like hate, it's just like, no, that's because someone wants to tear you down because they can't build anything.
Mm-hmm. And they don't
And
want to be
they're
a part of the
stuck.
journey.
Yeah,
Right.
So be it.
Right.
And if they don't want to join this cool path that your intention is to make a positive impact,
and
then
that's
so
fine.
be it.
That's fine.
There's also just a weird product of our culture right now that there's a status in being the first one in to troll.
Yeah.
If you're the first one in to troll and it's like a masterful sick burn troll, that's looked on as like, oh, fucking sick burn, man, that's awesome. And it's like, yeah, you've just destroyed the product that someone worked so hard for, you know? And
It's like spent so long crafting, and it's like all of a sudden one asshole. But that's the thing. That is the line you have to walk when you're putting yourself out there. Is realizing, I know what my goals are, and always know that there will always be someone trying to tear you down.
But if you find the ability to stay in the present, those people don't matter, and they won't bother you. Because what matters is right here, right now. It's not what this person said online last night or whatever. I mean, honestly, last night.
Yeah, that was pretty.
There was like the first Untapped review of our seltzer is just horrible, and it's laughably wrong.
Yeah.
Well,
this
fuck
person,
them. Let's give them a good review right now.
Yeah.
So my name's Declan. I just tried the entire palette. I tried mango. I tried dragon fruit. I tried lime. There's not any other.
Yeah, that's cherry. You missed it.
Cherry.
Someone grab me a cherry. God damn it.
I'll,
But
drink,
anyways,
I'll drink the mango.
drink the mango. You got the cherry?
No.
We don't have any mangoes. Anyways, cherry is great. I tried it. I swear. But hey, this shit's the future. And
Yeah.
these guys tried hard for it. These guys are winning, dude.
Yes.
And not only are they winning, they transferred the winnings into me, dude.
I
winning.
am very excited now that I can walk into a liquor store and buy Bolo, because I'm full on board with the hard seltzer game, and I want to support BauHaus more than anything. And I couldn't, because I was like, I love home guys, and it was just giving me heartburn, and it was just bringing me down. I couldn't drink it anymore.
Yeah.
But then I was drinking short pants, and I can drink about 3 or 4 of them until I start
Till you get
feeling a
heartburn.
little bit.
Yeah.
It's a little more acid reflux. So I was like, all right, I got to bag it. So I was going to Fulton because I love to support local, and they got their hard seltzer.
Yep.
But now we have Bolo, and I'm back in the BauHaus game.
And just wait
Nice.
wait
Yes.
for like another, I don't know, a couple weeks till you start seeing stuff. It's hopefully the way that we run our POS, like in the liquor stores, is gonna have you just, what the fuck are they doing? And just it's gonna be great.
Sweet.
Well, we'll film our reactions or document our reactions.
Please,
All right.
please do. I don't want to even spoil it for
No,
you.
yeah, I'm
Mhm.
glad you're not, because
Yes.
I don't want it. But now update. Just tried cherry. I've now made the full round
You're right.
of the Bolo
Hit through
Repertoire.
the cycle.
repertoire, and phenomenal.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
here's my rankings.
The Decky review.
The Decky review. Here we go. I review seltzers. That's what I do. I'm an influencer. You know, I review White Claw. I've reviewed Truly. I've reviewed all of them. And I know Fulton has a lot of Mio in it. It's kind of weird. But Bolo.
Mio?
Rankings.
They
They literally...
This was my immediate review, and I'm taking credit for this one.
You take
I
credit.
drank the Fulton for the first time, and I thought they just dumped a thing of Mio inside a plain seltzer, and I didn't hate it, but I just recognized right away. I feel like they went with the Mio route.
That's what his palate told him.
That's
and
what
you
my
know
palate
what?
told me.
Dude, you got to speak what your palate's thinking.
Yeah. Sometimes
is
you gotta
true.
go for it.
Yeah. We can
Yeah.
all agree on that.
Right.
So my rankings go dragon fruit number 1,
Nice.
lime number 2.
Yeah.
Those-
Which is like, think about how hard it is to sell like lime, because it's just like
It's
the
so-
vanilla of all
Yeah,
the
it's
things.
so pedestrian.
Mhm.
Yep.
Thank you.
It's
Great
so
word.
basic.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Pedestrian.
that's why we gotta do basic well.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
You do basic better than anybody.
Yeah.
And then I would say cherry at 3, mango at 4, because like mango is like the hot flavor right now.
Sure.
And that was my mindset. My palate was telling me that. It's not that it's bad.
No.
They're all great, but dragon fruit and lime.
They're key.
Crushed.
They're good. We're also
awesome.
gonna slightly tweak mango. I think you said, right? Maybe.
Yeah, the mango flavor is not quite as pronounced as we'd like it to be.
Okay.
And you notice that when you taste them side by side the other flavors.
Okay.
So next time we'll up the mango a little bit, and it'll be right in line and just as delicious as it is now, but with a little more mango.
All right.
Beautiful.
Do we get
Mike.
we're on Matt's now, right?
Oh yeah, no.
Oh, Mike.
Mike's
Are we on
average
Mike's?
quality.
Oh yeah, we already had Matt's.
Yes.
Um,
You kind of tapped into a little bit, so.
punctuality.
Ooh.
Mike. You showed up on time.
Well,
couple
You
minutes.
called me ahead of time.
Eh.
That's totally fine in my books.
I'm not. But I'm not talking about just today.
In general.
I've just in general become a very non-punctual guy. I not on purpose, or not to be a dick. It's just that I don't care. I don't know how that's
About
gonna
other
sound.
people's time.
No, not about other people's time. It's like if there's a meeting, if there is something that's very like I need to be there, like I will make sure that I am there. Or if I'm not there on time, I've let people know. And that's, I want to be a professional about courteous of other people's time. Like, absolutely. However, if I just think I want to spend time more with my family when I get the chance. In the morning is the only time I get to have with my kids, and I just like to squeeze as much as I can out of it. And if that makes me, 15, 20 minutes late to work every day compared to everyone else, I just don't care, because this means more to me to be with my family. Like, and that's okay. And it's like, if they want to pull me aside and tell me not to, I'll respect that, and then I will. But no one has, so I'm just gonna keep doing it.
You're polychronic.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So I just kind of
That's a
realized
word.
something. Polychronic. Good shit.
Thanks, man.
Hey,
Nice.
new word.
Introducing
New
new
word,
vocabulary.
dude.
Breaking news. We got a new word on the back pocket. Polychronic.
Yep.
But I just realized something. So we've had a couple people talk about punctuality on this podcast and
Yep.
how that's their average quality. It is a conflict of the things you care about.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
if,
what it is.
Yeah.
and you will hold yourself accountable for what you care about.
Yep.
And then perceive the things that people hold you accountable for what they care about.
Mm-hmm.
Your boss will quote unquote, hold you accountable for showing up to work on time.
Yeah.
But you personally will hold yourself accountable for spending time with your kids.
Right.
So there's a conflict there,
Mm-hmm.
right? Your boss isn't holding you accountable. However, you are holding yourself accountable when it comes to spending time in the morning making pancakes with your kids.
Right. Well, it's like, if you got to think about, like, I don't know, if you go back and get to reflect on your life, are you gonna remember all the times that you didn't remember with your kids, or didn't remember about situations that were important because you were, putting all the things into work? I mean, that's what I'm working so hard to do now, is find ways to free up more time to be with the people I love, to show up for the things that matter to me, because this whole idea of we all get to be stuck in a 9-to-5 was this, invented to keep people in line, to keep people on a schedule, so you could predict how an entire, population is going to act, and predict how your business will run by having people working these set times. And it's like, who the fuck says we have to do that? I don't know.
Yeah. No, well, you're touching on something that I actually kind of stood up to my boss today. He was complaining about, so I'm in the construction industry.
Right.
And we're coming towards the end of our job. We're trying to meet deadlines. And he's just expecting everybody to work these 60, 70 hours a week. And he's like, he goes, the industry has failed because people are not spending enough time on, like, spending the dedicated time on getting the job done. Not enough people are working 10 to 12 hours a day, and then ultimately like 60, 70 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I
That's what he said.
that's what he said. Not verbatim, but pretty damn close.
Sure.
And I said, but what about the other hours of the day that they're spending doing other things? Like, why can't we look at the world a little differently and a little more holistically?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we evaluate your work as like an output of time?
Right.
Where I show up every single day and I work and I get the work done that I need to, and then I go home and do more things. I'm exhausted at the end of the day just as much as you are.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this weird crux now, though, that everybody's being put in, right?
Mhm.
Because we're being forced into this time frame to get all those things done, when I would argue that most people, or some people, would not actually get that amount of work done at the same rate.
Right.
A lot
What
of
does your
people.
productivity look like in a day that long?
Exactly.
Right?
So I look at companies now that make their office feel like home, and people are willing to stay 14 hours and work and casually work throughout the whole day. Fallon, I think, does a really good job of that. Lola Red has an incredible office downtown in Minneapolis. But dude, I work at a trailer on a job site, and that's like part of the whole thing.
Right.
And I get that, and there's just a lot of grit
But
involved.
what does that say about culture too, though? This is your second home now, and you should, like, it's comfortable, but if the means are to get people to stay longer and work for, if you have the same salary and all of a sudden you're putting in way more time, but you're not getting compensated for doing so, and in the end, if you are raising a family, if you do have like extracurricular activities or hobbies that make you really happy, what does that say about it? It's like, that means that shit's not valued. And it's a weird line to walk, because if you actually love your job and you love that and you do have that environment, that's badass. Don't get me wrong, that's awesome. It is much more comfortable, but it is a weird thing in society to have creating offices to be as comfortable as your home so people stay there. I mean, there's ad agencies that have beds and cots that people can sleep overnight. That's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but selling it as a 30-minute nap is nothing.
Right. Yeah.
It depends on how you look at it. But at the same time, I think getting it kind of back to where I was going with it was like we're looking at our lives as these like constructs of time rather than the product that's actually put out.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
And so I'm like trying to challenge that in a way. I don't know what that is, but like if I'm gonna wake up tomorrow as a Backpocket guy full time and I have to hire a kid and we have to run this company for the next year, I'm saying let's all get 8 hours of sleep every single day. That's a blatant requirement. You show up when you want, you get your work done, and you leave. And you go and do your other things.
Get your shit done.
Get your shit done.
That's it.
Yep.
Get your shit done.
And it's like, did you bring value today? Did you bring some value and impact that you helped solve a problem for someone?
Yeah.
Like, if you can do that, that's all you need to do. And it's like, you just keep going back to that and making sure you do that. That the amount of time you spend means jack shit. I could go to work 12 hours a day, but I'll be on Reddit for 4 of them. I mean, I don't know. It's like, that's like kind of how it is.
Breaking
if you
news.
force that long period of a time. Now, if I can just condense it all and work my ass off and stay focused and then take a break and come back and get after it again and take a break, come back after it again, you could get done with most of your work in 4 or 5 hours that most people would spend 2 days doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. It's kind of, maybe it's just a backwards way of looking at things, but like your productivity is probably the same.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure.
And I'd be willing to
there are
challenge.
studies that confirm that.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
I would imagine. I mean, I know, and I feel like anecdotally I've heard those.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's why like I don't know what country it was, like Finland or something. They started switching to a 4-day work week, and their productivity is the same, if not better.
Yeah. I don't know if it was Finland or
Sweden
one of those other
or-
companies or one of those other countries that are generally way happier than we are.
Yeah.
Well, and that's right. You just said it, right? That's the key word, is happiness. So like if people were to start buying more into the happiness than the productivity, looking at either of you as fathers, as musicians, as employees rather than just employees, then like valuing you as a holistic version of you, then that becomes something totally different. And that's kind of what I've realized in my own industry, where, dude, the construction industry is based on time. That's why we wake up at 5 or 3, 4 or 5 in the morning
Right.
and work till 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon, right? Because it is on a time. Like, you have to get work done during the day,
sure.
and that makes sense.
Yep.
But the most successful, like, companies, the most successful people are the ones that value the people.
Like the whole.
The holistic
that work
version of
is
it.
one aspect of a life. Yeah.
Yeah, which was really cool because we had like my boss had used the Backpocket thing. It's not about the 9 to 5; it's about the 5 to 9, and he used that in like a monthly staff meeting, and like everybody bought in because like he was highlighting the things that wasn't even part of work
Right.
for the first time.
And you're just like, oh shit, he gets it.
He gets
okay.
it.
Yeah.
And he's like also part of Backpocket. And it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah. There's another cool story about with him and his work. They were like backlogged with something a few months ago, and they had to wake up earlier and earlier to get the things done. And one of they had their team meeting, and Declan's relaying the story to me, and he described how one person stood up and was like, "I got 2 hours of sleep last night, and I'm here and I'm working my ass off," and everyone was like applauding him for moving forward and only getting 2 hours of sleep and working harder. And I believe you stood up, Deck, and you're like, hey, why are we applauding this man who's driving himself into the ground, into a negative situation that 3 years from now he's not going to be mentally healthy because he can't,
or physically
healthy,
right?
And then everyone was like murmuring, like, oh yeah, he's right. Like, why are we celebrating this man's 2 hours of sleep? We need to get our 6 hour. We need to get minimum of 6 hours of sleep. And like you challenging that community camaraderie over 2 hours of sleep, flipped the switch, and they were like, oh wait, we need to figure out ways to not allow our employees to have that minimal sleep.
yeah.
I mean, that
must have been tough to kind of interject.
yeah.
Well, what's interesting about like, and I really do appreciate like the construction industry for what it is.
Sure.
But like I'm looking at my life as that viewer, and I'm like, this is fucked. Like I'm just looking at myself. I'm like, Deck, you cannot live like this ever again. Like
Right.
just understand this is not how it can work. But it's that exact thing of just like recognizing like this is a very, very traditional workforce and workplace, and it works, and it builds the fucking economy.
Well,
there's no argument. There's no
legit
arguing.
Builds. I mean, you get to see. It's what a tangible way to show progress. You actually are building shit, and then it comes to completion.
When we're saying getting shit done, like I show up every single day with like fires and tasks to do to progress work to get the job done. And
Right.
Sometimes literally fires.
That's another fun story. But like, it's been such a fun lesson to learn or an experience to have, because there are still moments within that I can challenge the status quo and like use that experience entirely for myself for whatever the hell I want to do later.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like this is cool because you get to look back and be grateful that you got all these lessons from something that maybe it's like, if anything, you learned, I don't want to do this again, but there's been a lot I've seen in here that has taught me the value of this, and this. You know, that's the best way you can look at it. Like, I have had so many instances of like looking at certain jobs I had, or when things were really stressful, and saying like, why am I doing this, blah blah blah, and then if you can just switch that perspective to go, okay, yeah, no, I've learned I don't want to do this anymore, but I've also gotten all these valuable pieces of information and insight that I can apply towards the next thing.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Wow.
And these are moments where this is like the best experience we can have on a podcast, and I'm thoroughly enjoying this with you guys and just talking about life and talking about.
Can I go to the bathroom real quick?
Yes, you can.
Can I be excused?
You may.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do it live.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Mr. Drinking Bolos on Bolos.
That's my repertoire.
I mean, they're pretty crushable.
They are crushable. They're delicious.
Yes.
Sweet. I get to carry the conversation now. No longer Jackie. This is the first time ever. The next thing that we do on the back end show is transition to a what did you learn? And this is something that we just talk about. What did you learn from the moment you woke up to when we're having this conversation? And it's an opportunity for us to kind of dive back into the day and actually like show appreciation. Like, hey, you did something today that it's almost going to the back to the aspect of sharing your wins, because not enough people feel comfortable bragging about themselves because it gets perceived as cocky.
Yeah.
So we always finish on a note where you get to either talk about something awesome that you did or some like cool information that you learned.
Sure.
So if you could think of something off the top of your head, I'd love to give you the opportunity to start it. What did you guys learn today?
Today was a good day, but I'll let you go first.
I learned that there is an entire industry of people that just have fun for a living and make up creative shit to sell product.
It's pretty crazy, right?
It's called the ad agency.
Yes.
The ad world. No, it was this morning.
because this is the first time like
Fallon has engaged with BauHaus.
Yeah, and then they pitched us. I mean, I've never been a client on that side, and I'm like, I'm just reveling in
Well,
this.
you know, they're just, first of all, like the work that Fallon is doing on this project is just mind-blowingly funny and cool, and it's going to be great for Bolo. And you can just tell like they're invested in it. They're actually, there's passion there.
I mean, Rob told me today, he's like, this is the most fun I've had working on something, and I don't know how long. So he said, thank you. And I'm like, that's what I wanted. I wanted to make sure that you guys got value out of doing this, not just doing us a favor.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was the win for me today, was having people be so excited about a product that we made that basically they're telling us, you know, the sky's the limit. You guys can choose to take this however big you want to take it, and we'll be happy to be a part of it. But, you know, it's always validating to hear people get excited about, you know, something that you've created, especially, you know, an agency like Fallon that works with national brands, you know, big brands that are, you know, prominent in the marketplace.
Yeah, I mean, they do Arby's right now, and that's all that work. That's great and funny and big, and it pays the bills. But at the same time, we're not going to be an Arby's client where you dissect everything to like, well, this market research says this and this and this. And it's like, you know, that's just what you have to do, because you have to talk to the entire nation. The fact that we gave them a few awesome creatives the chance to work on a product like this, where there's like, get as real as you can and just show us what's fun and interesting. And they did it in spades, and this is going to be so fun.
Yeah.
That's really cool that, you know, you get to see the stuff that you believe in, the stuff that you see all the value in, and then someone else equally sees that's not even involved with the party.
Right.
That's incredible.
That's fun.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do with Backpocket and getting sponsors every single time, is just show them as much as how much we care about this and everything, that the potential's there, and then you got to pitch it in a way that they articulate it and they can understand it to them.
Yeah.
So it's really cool when it does happen.
Yeah.
That's sweet. That's
sweet.
What did you learn?
I want to bring something up real quick. So first off, what I learned is when you are a bystander listening to a podcast, this just sounds like a couple guys upstairs drinking beers and having conversation.
When you were walking up the stairs back into the
Yeah, I was like,
conversation.
if like you were to just like walk past, like if this was like a public studio at a WeWork place and you just were like to physically just listen, you'd be like, oh, these guys are not getting anything done. They're just not getting anything done, but we are getting a lot of things done. But I want to actually kind of question you guys in terms of a brand and what you guys do. And I know you guys do all those fun commercials, and I know you guys you put a lot of creativity towards, visuals that end up getting awareness, and then that kind of is, the belief is that it would circle back into this community, and then the community buys beers.
Right.
Yep.
Andrew and I are in a position right now where we have kind of like a network. Like we're kind of
Right.
I don't know, like I'm not gonna
a cult.
Well, cult, yeah, but it's like an ABC. Like
We have a cult.
we're going live 3 times a week. We're very active, like out there all the time, and we like have numbers to show it. I want to know from your guys' perspective, like, what is kind of the value that you see in like a podcast, or like, I mean, I don't even know what we are at this point, but like, is there cohesion when from like a brand standpoint, or is that something that's attractive to you guys? Because what we're trying to figure out right now is like, part of the sale is to fill a need. But to be honest, Andrew and I have no idea what that need is, and so until we figure out what that is, then we'll figure out who we go after. But I don't know what that is.
So okay, I can help you guys. The easiest thing you gotta remember is like that money doesn't really exist. It's like not. It's elusive. Like, you just need to solve a problem. That is it. What is the problem? What are you gonna solve? And in the end, you get something in exchange for solving that problem. Now, money usually is the thing that comes from it, but money just represents value. How much value did you give someone in solving a problem? So what you have to think about is like, okay, what problems do we solve as a podcast, and really get tight on what is that problem,
Or like, what problems can we solve?
yeah, or what problems can we solve? We have an audience of listeners that are all listening because you guys are in the knowledge business. You guys share knowledge because you get guests on to share knowledge, to give people tips and advice and just ways of thinking and new perspectives that might change the trajectory of their lives. If you can use that as a selling point, you can find a company who's like, we really need to reach your demographic to try to get them to take these courses that they could help enrich their lives or something like that. And it's like, well, that's what we do. We are in the knowledge business, and we have an audience that's really receptive to those kind of messages. And that's like, all of a sudden you're solving that problem for them. And if you can bring that and you can show like, here's the people listening, this is what our show aims to do, and this is what people are learning, it's like all of a sudden you've solved that problem, and then they'll maybe be a sponsor.
I mean, I can think of one value proposition right now for your podcast, and something that you mentioned earlier, Andrew, is that not a lot of people talk openly enough about mental health. And I think that through your podcast, normalizing open discussion of mental health issues is a huge value proposition, because I think that
that's absolutely right.
People don't like to talk about it a whole lot, but there are so many instances of mental health issues among the current population, particularly younger generations. And I don't think that older generations get that. I think that a lot of especially boomer generations are like, don't talk about that. It's not real. Just get yourself in a, figure it out, but I think normalizing the discussion, it makes people feel so much more receptive to the podcast that, oh my gosh, they're actually talking about this in an open and honest way. I want to, not only do I want to keep listening, but I'm also interested in what sort of sponsors want to be involved in that kind of a podcast.
Yes, and I think you're hitting the nail on the head with the way we frame it as we're average guys, we're talking about average qualities, and we're just trying to be a little bit better today. That's something, and my dad has always challenged me, like, there's something there, and I think that mental health aspect needs to be unpacked, as we love to say, further.
Unpack it.
Unpack it, yes.
You mentioned it, so it's something that's on your mind. It's something you're thinking about.
And it's been a common theme for this last hour and a half of talking about how we all struggle with different variations of anxiety or self-pressure, self-inflicting wounds, all that stuff.
Yep.
So right on. Appreciate you sharing that, Matt. Mike, what did you learn today?
Man. I learned that I really respect the work that I get to do. This is one of those instances where, when you work in advertising, you often get thrown onto brands or projects that you may not love or be passionate about. And that's okay, because you can find how to get passion into your aspect of the work. Because it's fun to solve problems. Like, it just is. But when you have a moment like today where, like Matt already hit it on the head, these guys were very excited to share with us. And because everything was genuine and authentic, and they thought about it so deeply on the strategy behind all this work that we're going to put out, that it's like it made me feel so good that this is what I've gotten to do. And it's like, oh yeah, I needed to reground myself, that this has been such a just mind-blowing experience to be in this industry for as long as I have. I know I don't want to continue down this road for the rest of my life, but it just regrounded me to remember the best aspects of it, because in the end, you do not want to go and disrupt people's lives with advertising. That is the way that you fuck it all up, and that is the problem right now, when so much shit is being inundated on people, and you can get millions of messages going out all the time and hitting people over the head. That's fucked. That's the way that is going to get people freaked out. And you use fear, you use anxiety, you use all these triggers. But if there are ways to genuinely bring something empowering to someone, or give someone a laugh, give someone something that they didn't expect, but it makes them feel a positive outcome, it's like, that is what you can do. Like, that is what good communication, that is what good advertising, that is what good just messages really should be. They should resonate. Make sure that you make something that solves a problem and resonates for someone in a way that's meaningful and positive and fun. And that's the kind of shit that we could use so much more of. And it's like, it reminded me of that today. And I'm just like, man, I am so grateful for these people and for just how their minds work.
Beautiful.
I think the thing that sticks out to me the most from that is like the genuine and authenticity part of it, because so many other things and so much work that, generates money is rooted not in it's ingenuine and inauthentic.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Right? You can make all kinds of t-shirt sales off of Facebook ads and just like targeting the right person and never knowing the person you actually sell to. That's just a small example, but like, and what's really cool is like for Fallon, like they're so global and so reaching all kinds of people. For them to be able to pivot and use the same power towards something that's so personal is amazing. And I could see the passion of both you guys of just being like so fired up. And it's because you guys are operating within exactly what the confines of what you love.
Right.
Yeah. And like that's the goal. That's living. Let me fail in the confines of what I love. Let me win in the confines of what I love. Regardless, I'm within the confines of what I love.
Right.
And what that is just like, is you, and you're still going to be Mike Schwandt trying to do every fucking new business of all time. But like, that's Mike Schwandt. Yeah. I love that, man. It's freaking awesome.
The thing is, like, true enthusiasm breeds enthusiasm.
Yes.
You can, if you bring like authentic excitement towards whatever you're doing, other people are going to feel that shit. And then they might do that for them. They might go, well, I'm turned on about this now. This is awesome. It's like, that's what we felt coming back to us today. We're like, holy shit. It came back exactly the way that we thought energy-wise in a whole different way. And it's like the way we're describing this right now, it's going to make it sound like we have this epic campaign. It's going to be the dumbest shit you've ever seen.
No.
care.
What's really gonna be great is, I mean, I hope you guys can like share the creative with us so that I can create like Mike Schwandt saying, you know, something about this campaign and then showing it to people.
Oh, dude,
and like having him interjectedly put his thoughts through this thing to give you guys a little bit of a BTS behind what was actually created. And you can share that with your team or however.
Yeah,
but like, I think that'd be hilarious. And I haven't even seen it yet.
Oh yeah. No, I'll. Oh man, it's like I kind of want to give you a sneak peek, but at the same time I don't.
The campaign lends itself very well to that format.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I like this, dude.
Well, I'll wrap it up on this note. What I learned today is.
Oh yeah. Well, hold on. Hey, Andrew, what'd you learn, dude?
I learned that I gotta meet.
Don't care, dude. I'm
Okay,
just kidding.
yeah.
Just best.
I gotta meet Mark.
Oh,
I
yeah?
gotta meet the third Schwandt.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome. I truly appreciate you taking an hour and a half out of your Friday after work. We're heading into the weekend feeling energized after this conversation. I appreciate the time you've given us. And that transitions right along to the feel-good story of the BauHaus community, Bolo by BauHaus.
You didn't learn anything else? You didn't learn that AB got traded or released from the Patriots today and you're super stoked about it?
I do feel great that Antonio Brown is...
That was quick.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was quick. Very quick.
Yeah.
Life is quick.
He's in the wrong. My train of thought with Bolo. I appreciate you guys coming here and sharing the story of Bolo before it gets released. That's the feel-good story. You guys are entering the game of the seltzer industry. You guys are fired up. You have big things coming. Backpocket is willing to do whatever it can to
drink them,
to evolve the hype into new levels.
I mean, it's
New
going to be
heights.
Bolo Cello next year, right?
Oh,
Yep.
Bolo Bocella.
Bolo by Bocella.
Yeah.
yes,
so-
absolutely.
This has been awesome. Deck, do you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I think kind of back to your point where you were talking about like podcasting is like active journalism
Mm-hmm.
for guys who don't like to write.
Right.
And that was exactly this. I think I got a lot of benefit hearing you guys talk a lot because you guys are A, very good speakers, B, have a lot on your mind, and are also brothers. So I think there was like a lot of good vibing there. And I hope you guys got like a ton of benefit from it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been a blast. Thank you for having us on.
Yeah.
Frick yeah, dude.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
a wrap.
Next time we'll bring Mark, and then he'll be like, "What the fuck are you guys talking about?"
Yeah, yeah.
We'll
we
be
can-
lost in the back.
Yeah,
I'll just replace. Yeah, kick one of us out, dude. We'll let Mark come in here, no problem. Andrew's chair's comfier, so if that makes a difference.
Just get a
Okay.
slightly bigger couch.
Yeah,
Until
it's a sectional. We can find another
Yeah,
section.
were you
that's what I
guys,
mean.
Were you guys like comfortable sitting?
I
in
feel
these?
great. This
Yeah.
is. I remember the chairs. This is great.
This
It's
is
an
way
upgrade.
better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, I love that. We're
Awesome.
improving.
we're improving. That's a wrap.
But I've been thinking of the way you felt when you watched me rolling over the horizon line like we're lightning. It hasn't rained for a long time, but you know it's on